All right. All right. So our topic for the day is principles and elements of design. So is there anyone here who is like a beginner? Yeah, let me know before I begin. All right, great. Noted. So it's all pretty simple, so you don't have to panic too much. So we can just start like what's graphic design? So forget this definition, right? Because I got so busy, so I got it from Chat GPT, but it really summarizes what it all is. And it is very, very clear and it just it does what it needs to do. So this is basically the main definition that you need. Every other thing is paraphrasing, but this is basically it. So it's just course it's the art and practice of visual communication. So it combines text, images, and other elements convey ideas or messages. So your designs are meant to communicate. It is also meant to have great aesthetics because great aesthetics help you to look and stop and look again. So, but the first thing for design is for it to communicate. It is supposed to tell you, like, let's say, what flyers do is they tell you an event, or they tell you about a discount sale, or they tell you about a brand, or they tell you about an Instagram page or a business. So that's just what graphic design does. So it is important to learn the principles and elements of design so that you can create designs that are not only good, but they communicate effectively and, of course, are aesthetically copy. So, who is it? What the graphic designers do? Basically, this is the whole message. This is what they do. It's all pretty clear. So, in this part. So let's start with the principles of design. And also, if I'm too fast, you can always say something. You can just unmute yourself and just say something. And yeah, let's get up to it. So the first principle of design is balance. So when you're creating a design, it is important that every element on the page is related to each other and they balance each other out. So there's such a thing called visual weight. So what that means is the heaviness or the lightness of all the elements in the design space. So without balance, the design can seem to tilt to one side or make it distorted. So in all that we do, we must strive for balance. So there's a small pictorial sample here. And let's look at this example. So here we have everything in the middle. So all the elements have been shifted to the middle. We'll get to elements after principle. So basically text, that is typography, is an element. Imagery is an element. And shape is an element. So here we have this in the middle of the page. Then we have these images and the shapes and the text. So what that does is all of them are in the middle and we can see that it balances pretty well. So we have this that are the same size, then these shapes that are the same type of shape, and of course the typography is like the same size. So, and again, we have this element to the side. So we have another one here. So that basically shows you that everything is basically equal here. So it gives this flyer or this post or this design balance. So yeah, and also the tool we're using to do this class is Canva. So you can access it on canva.com, you can sign up and create an account and you can start designing immediately. So it also has like what do you call it? Templates that you can use, you can get one edit. So you just need to go to this tab right here and you have different designs that you can just pick one and edit it to your liking and use it for what you need it to do. But it is important to know the principles and the elements of design. It's important to know the basics so that you understand why these designs are made this way. And even when you edit it, you edit it in a way that still looks good and can still communicate effectively. So yeah, in this is quite balanced. Everything is in monochrome, that's in black and white. And then we have this color here. And of course, the shapes too are the same size. So everything is balanced here. Now, the next principle of design is unity. So unity is basically when all the elements in the design have come together and they balance each other out. So this is when all they might not be the same size. Let's say like here, if there are different sizes of this, or maybe it was a different shape, or let's even say it was tilted. But you can do it in a way that even when you look at the design, even when they are all different, we can see how they work together. They all have a relationship and everything is seamless. So, of course, if you don't have unity within your design, it can feel disorganized, chaotic, and it might even look like you don't know what you're doing. So, it is important that every element that you put on your design has a reason. There must be a reason for it. You don't just put things because it might look good. It might look good, but it is important to know why it is there. That way it can tie in with the rest. So let's look at a sample. So here we have these sort of like curved lines at the side, and we can see that the image is sort of like a sphere, so we can see her in it, and everything here is circular or curved, so to speak. And then it is orange, and we also have the logo here, orange, text orange, and then the text is to the side. So we can say that this is still balanced, even as everything seems to be different shapes or different sizes. It all works because there is unity and somebody took their time to make it so. So let's go to the next one, which is contrast. So contrast is when elements in a design are used to create visual hierarchy. So they show you what to look at. So with contrast, you can use colors or you can use shapes or you can use size. So in this small sample here, we have three circles and then we have an asterisk. So immediately your eyes go to the asterisk because that is the only different thing there. So we can use that to show people where to look at. So let's move yeah, to the sample. So now this is a post or a social media post for a digital marketing agency. And we see that the digital marketing agency typography here is, or more like the text here, is quite big, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, emphasis has been made on marketing. So the marketing is pink and the rest is like a very dark shade of blue, almost black. So this is contrast. We can say this is one sentence, but the pink has made it stand out. So we look at marketing. So that is what contrast is. And then, yeah, we have the picture. So we look at this first because it is made this way so that we can look at this first. After that, you see the image. The image is, of course, people in an office. And then we start to look at these other details. So that's how you can use contrast in your designs. So let's go to emphasis. So emphasis is similar to contrast. So in this case as well, contrast has been used to lay emphasis. So they want us to see that this is a digital marketing agency. They want us to see e-marketing. So we can see it because the color is different from the rest. So that contrast tool can help you to lay emphasis. Yeah, same thing. Now we have repetition. So this basically means repeating an element or more elements through a design to create consistency in the design. So here we have circles. So the circles have been repeated and even the image has been put in a circular frame so that it ties in with the rest of these decorative elements in the design. So with this, we have created something that's consistent and uniform. So that's how you can use repetition in your design. So imagine using a square here. So it'll just it'll be out of place and you see it immediately. And not only that, let's zoom in a bit. You can see that everything has a curved edge. Everything in this design has a curved edge, and that is not by accident, it's by design. Because imagine if we made this a normal rectangle, it will be out of place, like way out of place. So yeah, even the icons for the phone number and of course the website are not in a square shape, it's all circular. So everything just works together seamlessly. This is another example of repetition. So here we have repeated these stars to sort of like mimic bullet points. So, and then this is also repeated. And it just makes it all pretty simple and easy to look at. So you see, this is also the same as this, just smaller. So it has been repeated throughout the design. It's just make everything great. And of course, when in doubt, just use simple shapes and elements. We always does better for you. So let's look at pattern. Yeah. So repetition is repeating one element throughout the design. But pattern is a group of elements are repeated through the design. So we have something like this. And then here we have these shapes. So we can see that this is a group of elements. We see the same thing here, something similar here, something similar here. So we can see repetition of a pattern here. So these are really, they're pretty easy to find. You can find them in the elements panel here. So all you need to do, just search for, this is geometric shape. They are also abstract shapes. So you will just find any that you like, any that you like the pattern, and you can use it. Let's try abstract. Okay. We have more of these. So with Canva, all these things are really pretty easy to find. So you don't have to worry about where you're going to get them from. And a lot of them are like absolutely free. So you just have freedom to use it whenever you like. So here we have an example of a pattern. And then we still have repetition. So we have rectangles. And here, because of these shapes or this pattern that we have here, which is circles, half circles, and stuff. We have mixed sharp edges with curved edges here. So in this case, everything works together in unity. If you recall unity, everything works because of this mixture of elements that we have here. Everything just works beautifully together. Any questions so far? You can unmute and say anything. Anything? Questions, questions, questions. No questions. Okay, let's continue. So now we have movement. So movement is the part our eyes take when we look to the design. So with emphasis and contrast, we can guide our viewers' eyes to what we want them to see first. So we can create, of course, movements with shapes, with text, and all of that. So in this example, we can see that this text, which is a 70% discount, has taken the shape of this burger. So when you look at this, for example, you see the burger first, and then you see the shape of this text. It has taken the shape of the burger, and of course, the day of the discount and all. So what has happened here is instead of let's say just making it straight like everything else, sometimes to conserve space, we can make these kinds of decisions so that in the end it still works well with the design and just makes it all cohesive and there's consistency too. So here we look here, see this, see the discount, and we see this, and of course the call to action or the CTA, which compels you to order, and you can compare the price of the discount. And if it's a popular page, you already know that the name will be there. Or if it's a new page or something you've not seen before, then you have a name. And then, of course, contact information at the bottom. So when we look through this, our eyes are immediately drawn to this part before we move to the other elements. So this is what movement entails. And now we have proportion. So proportion is also related to balance. So stuff that are in equal sizes or not in equal sizes that have come together to form something that is balanced and is consistent. So here in this small sample, we have different shapes and we have different sizes of the shape. So this is a flyer made by one of my former students. So here she has used different shapes to create something that is cohesive. So there's a circle in the background. You can see the difference in text, then the CTA, and then the other elements in at the bottom here. So everything, then of course the main subject, which is a little doggy. So everything has come together here to create a cohesiveness. You can see that of course since a dog is like an organic shape sort of. It has more curves, no sharp edges. Then we have this shape, which of course is a rounded rectangle, and our text is big and no sharp edges as well. Our logo here also relates to the rest, even though it's a different shape from, let's say, these. But everything here is rounded, everything is different, and they have come together to make it all cohesive. And of course, they are all in different proportions, apart from the text, which, of course, text has to be uniform. But in this case, we have similar sizes, so that still works. So you see this first, your eye, that's your eye movement. You see this first, you see what they can do at PetLove, and of course your CTA or your call to action, which is to book an appointment. And then we see a number, we see an address if you want to visit the main shop or main store, and then social media. So next we have harmony. So harmony is also closely related to unity. So because different elements have come together to work and create consistency. Yeah, let's take a look at the sample. This is also a work done by one of my former students as well. Yeah, I'm bragging because they give me joy. So I'll be bragging with a lot of their work. So yeah, this is a flyer for a tea shop, and she has used a rounded rectangle frame. There are stars, and then the color combination as well, and of course the text. So everything, this is the same size, this is a different size, but it's similar to this size. The image, then we have this arrow, and then the information at the bottom. Of course, everything just comes together and it all makes a lot of sense. So yeah, and yeah, she has added, she has crossed out a part, or more like divided, yeah, the page into two parts. So that when you look at this, remember movement, when you look at this, you can see the date of the opening and then the time. So she has moved that to the close bottom, and so that you can look at it after you look at these. So it all makes it all works together. So let's go to alignment. Let's go to alignment. Yeah, yeah, give me a sec. All right, I'm back. Sorry, I had to go switch over. The Nigerian problem. So, yep. Next we have alignment. So this is basically aligning up all our items in a straight line so that it all looks arranged. So bad alignment can cause your design to look distorted or disorganized. So we have to make sure that we use proper alignment in our work. So let's take a look at this. So she has moved, although everything has I would say a different alignment for the most part. We can draw a straight line from here to this. So she has kept this in one alignment. And then we can draw another straight line from here to here. In fact, we can draw a straight line from here to here. So when we keep this simple and aligned like this, it all makes our design easy to look at and appreciate, and everything is arranged so you can just look at it and it is communicating effectively as well. So another example here. And also, yeah, there are different types of alignment. There's left, right, and middle. So here she has made use of, one of my students as well, has made use of center and left. So we can see this is in the center, this is in the center, this, these two rectangles, and this one as well. So a lot of the time when we're mixing these different kinds of alignment, we need to be careful. So knowing the principles will help you to create something that is understandable, so to speak. So we need to know all of these so that we can create designs that still communicate well and still look very good. So here we have, can draw a straight line, and we have this in the middle. So balance on equal parts. This is also in the middle, so we have balance on equal parts. So if you draw a straight line in the middle, we also have we still have balance here. So the visual weight is quite great in this one, and of course we still have unity and everything works here. Next we have hierarchy. So hierarchy is also similar to contrast. Contrast can be used to create hierarchy as well. So this is the arrangement of all the elements in a design according to their importance. So hierarchy also guides movement. So let's take a look here. Here it is actually quite distinct. This is another work of one of my students as well. Yeah. So many my students sabi, don't worry. I'll always use them to brag. So yeah, so here we can, this is the first thing we'll see. So it is quite distinct. We have used this to create what's the word? To create hierarchy. So this is the first thing we see, and then we start looking at the rest. So this is the next biggest thing. And when we look at this, our eyes automatically take us to this one. Then we start looking at the rest. So yeah, this is how you can create a hierarchy in your design. Okay, what's next? Okay, so next we have elements of design. So does anyone have any questions on principles of design? We can pause for a few minutes and take any questions you have. Ask me questions.
It's all clear for me.
Okay, that's great to know. Great, 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 great. Okay, so let's go to elements of design. So the elements are basically what as those things that we use to create the design. So like if you come to the elements panel here, you have graphics, you have photos. I mean, yeah, let's see photos. Basically stock imagery. Can see all of that. Text is also an element. So we see text here and we see combinations that we can use that are already made. And then if you want a background for your work, also have that here. But anyway, let's go back to the elements of design. You can explore the Canva app whenever you like. It's always there for you and it's free. So for lines can create structure, define shapes, it can convey movement or direction within a design. So lines can also be decorative. So let's see an example. So here, lines have been used to like divide this space into different sections. So you have a section for the big quality, the discount. You have shop now, 50% off. And as we're looking at all of these, we can actually remember our principles. So here you have contrast, you have emphasis, you also have hierarchy because you look at this first and then your eyes go here because this is the second biggest thing or the second boldest thing, so to speak. So, and also we have unity. We have unity and of course harmony because we have texts that are, I'll say, normal, like written normally. Then we have those that are tilted to the side. And then we have these shapes that all come together to create this design. And we have an image too. So it all just works together. So that's what your principles do. With the principles in mind, you are able to create designs that stand out, that pop, so to speak, and they guide you in doing things that are different. So that we know these principles are like rules, just like ground rules. So you need to know them so that when it is time to break them, you can break them properly, so to speak. So the next element is shapes. So shapes are defined areas, or yeah, they can be geometric or organic. So a circle is a shape, triangle, in this case a star, and we have organic shapes. So leaves, clouds, blobs. Let's look in our elements panel for organic shapes. So organic basically means like nature because nature has more curved edges than sharp edges, so to speak. So so these are organic shapes, basically blobs, leaves, and all of that. Stuff that look like you drew it with free hand. Uh, organic shapes. So take a look. In this design, also done by one of my students, she has used shapes to create this Valentine's Day flyer or for Valentine's Day packages. So she has used different shapes here. So she has a rounded rectangle, a like or like a longer and shorter one. This is also okay. This is a rounded square, so to speak, and then of course the heart shape. So this has come together to create something that is great. It is on theme and there is good contrast. Remember contrast, and of course with unity, we have hierarchy because we see this first, and then we see prices of the package and then the background. So with your principles, a lot of the time you don't need to blow things out of the park. You can still make very simple designs that look very good and are great. So the next element to talk about is texture. So texture refers to the roughness or smoothness or the depth of an object. So we have textures on Canva that you can use and you can find them also in the elements panel. So in this example, this is a gradient. So you can find this in the photos section over here. So you can just type in rough gradient or grainy texture and you'll find stuff like these that you can use in your design. So let's look at an example. Yeah, you remember this? So here they have added texture over the design so it doesn't look flat. It looks like a poster you can place or that has been placed on a wall and maybe has aged. So it gives it a sort of grunge feel. It makes it look real, sort of. So yeah, that's what we can use texture to do. It makes it look organic, so to speak, as well. So here, the next element of design is space. So space refers to the area within, around, or between elements in a design. So it can be positive space. So like here, we have this positive space because there are things here, also here. Then negative space is where there is nothing. So that's why I left this like this. So this is negative space. So let's take a look at an example. Another bragging time. This has been used, this was created rather by one of my students. So yeah. So we can say that this is negative space here. Then of course, this has text, text, a CTA, and then we have these objects here and here. So here we have negative space. And this side as well, and this side. So the next element we'll talk about is imagery. So imagery can be photographs, illustrations, icons, etc. And it adds context, enhances communication, and reinforces the messages or the theme of a design. So images can evoke emotions, they can communicate, and they can add visual interest to the design. Sorry for the break in transmission. So let's look at some images. So here, most student work. The image here has been used to convey that this is a post for an interior design company. So of course, when you're conveying that kind of message, you need images to support what you're trying to do. So we have an image of an interior space that's been decorated beautifully. So, and notice that the image is sort of like gray, and then there are other gray tones. Then we have white, or sort of like off-white, or gray that is closer to white. And then the rest of the background is also gray, so it matches with the image. So with that, we remember our principles. So we have good contrast, we have good hierarchy, and we have unity and harmony within the design space. Colors match, they complement each other, and of course, we have our CTA as well. And another image that we have here is the icons, so the social media icons, Instagram, and then the location pin. I covered this because there's some information there she might not want others to see, so I covered it up. So the next element we're going to talk about is color. So we basically know what color is. Color is what we encounter in everyday life. It helps us to create visual interest. It can help us create contrast, hierarchy, emphasis to recall, and color can be used to evoke emotion as well. So color is a very, 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 very important part of your design. And it is very important to know how to use it because it can really make or break your design. It is one aspect that a lot of us find difficult. It's interesting, honestly, but getting the intricacies of it takes a little bit of time. But honestly, it will be one of the most fun things that you will do. So don't be afraid of color. Just go with it, practice, and that is how we become very good with it. So let's take a look at an example. So on a normal day, you might say, orange, yellow, and green. How does that work together? But orange, green, or more like aqua here, or teal, and yellow have been used here beautifully because with knowledge of color, you're able to manipulate it to what you like, and you can use contrast to really find a balance, especially when you're working with colors that seem like they don't really go together. So here we have orange as the main subject. We have a little bit of the yellow. And of course, we can say these are like shades of green because, of course, aqua comes from green and there's a bit of blue, but we can see that these match. They are different tones, but they work together because they come from sort of one color family, so to speak. Orange also works very well with the yellow. And then for text, we have black and we have the white background. So everything just ties together well. Our principles are being used here to make this design look good. And finally, we have typography. So typography, just like color, can make or mar your design. It is very, 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 very important to use typography that, again, can set the mood of your design because that's one of the things that typography does. Can set the mood. It can make your it reinforces the overall aesthetic and it communicates information. So when we go to like flyers, of course, we have come here to read stuff. Sometimes not just look at the imagery, but we have come to read, and your typography has to be legible. So in this example, creating inspired spaces one room at a time. So we can read this very well because typography has been used very well here. And then we have this. It's small, but it is bold, so we can see it. And then we also have this here in a good color that has contrast with the shape behind it. Let's look for another one. Also here, same thing. Also, typography has been used here very well. So to communicate effectively, because anytime we look at any design or let's say a flyer or a poster, there's always something to read there after we look at the imagery. So it is important that we make sure that our text is legible. So like in this example, or we can see everything. I just need to zoom in a bit and we can all read it. Imagine if it was posted or pasted somewhere on the wall, you'll be able to see very well. You could, if you put it on social media, you can read it. So that's because the person has taken their time to choose good typography. So, any questions, guys? We'll be doing another class on typography and color. I'll tell you the date and the time for that one. So you don't have to worry. So, any questions?
No questions.
All right, that's good. Means everything was clear. But you can always shoot me more questions in my DM if you think of them later. So don't be shy. I hope we all enjoyed the class. I hope we learned something.
Yes, I did.
As we see here. Great, 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 great. So thank you everyone for joining. This has been fun. Thank you all so much.
Thanks for teaching us too. Thanks for your time.
No problem at
We
all.
appreciate.
No problem. I'm always here for you.
Okay.
I'm always here. All right, guys. So I'll set a time and date for color and typography and communicate it to you. So just be expecting that. So do sort of like a deep dive and all. So and also tell your friends to come. It's all free before it's not free anymore. So color and typography will be coming soon.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate.
You're most welcome. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys soon. We should be having our typography classes. You'll start from typography, then go to color. We should have that. If it's not the end of this week, it will be early next week. But just keep in touch. You can follow me on Twitter, and I'll also send a link to the community so that everyone else that's not in the community can join in. So thank you so much for joining in, guys. And I'll see you all pretty soon. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.